I've often acknowledged the painful history, the broken promises that are part of our past, and I've said that while we couldn't change the past, working together, nation to nation, we could build a better future.
I am Gen I.
I am Gen I. I am Gen I.
I am Generation Indigenous.
I would just like to thank you, Mr. President, and each of our panelists for being up here with us today.
He's a funny guy.
He actually knew our name.
He's like a regular person.
He's like the people's president.
He's like the raddest.
Let's start a conversation.
I really want to speak about poverty because I currently live on the Navajo reservation. I don't really have a suitable home and I don't have running water or electricity. I'm stressed to go home because it's going to be cold, it's going to be winter. I have to do all of that when I've been spoiled in DC with water and taking a shower every day. Right now, my mother, she lives in a little shed, but for me, I've known that life since I was little, since I was born, so I'm used to it. It's like camping, but I wish I didn't have to go through it. I want to know what kind of programs you have to offer Native American communities who have the worst housing and living conditions.
The first thing is just give them some running water. The question is, how do we give tribes the tools whereby they can start generating jobs on their own terms within their communities?
Is there any way you can get teachers to understand Alaska Native and American Indian students better? And is there a way that we can get rid of or eliminate stereotyping and racism within schools?
You have this incredible indigenous culture that kind of seeps into everything, but sometimes it's not reflected in the curriculum.
There's actually over 20 languages in Alaska, and actually one of them is extinct. The language itself, I think only about, or I'm pretty sure, only about 75 people speak it fluently here today.
What we're doing is we're giving grants to help those school districts think about these issues in a much more serious way. In terms of eliminating racism or stereotypes, it's especially important in the schools.
How will your administration help empower low-income Native American youth trying to get to college? Gen I is, to me, is the whole group of all us natives coming together, all uniting and becoming one voice to help speak against poverty and lack of education. While I was playing lacrosse on my reservation, I was playing with all these kids that didn't go to college. There is many students who can't afford to go to college, and then they fall into the cycle of like drugs and alcohol.
The truth of the matter is that between Pell Grants and federal loans and grants and scholarships that are available, there's really very few young people who should not be able to go to college if they've got enough motivation.
I'd bring the issue up to people and they'd be like, oh, there's been 5 people before you and they didn't get nowhere, so you know what makes you the different? And I said it's because I'm not going to give up.
My question is, do you have any ideas or programs that could prevent childhood obesity and diabetes for Native youth?
I've had family members die due to diabetes. One of my uncles, he had to get one of his foot cut off because he had diabetes so bad. Native youth might be close to developing diabetes because some homes might not have like a healthier alternative.
Alaska Natives get 50% of their calories from traditional sources.
In Alaska, we rely on traditional hunting and gathering. Like, that's all my fridge is full of: moose meat, seal oil, fish.
How do we adapt that so that becomes part of the food chain for kids when they're in school?
A lot of the young people I've met have gone through more than anybody should have to go through in an entire lifetime. And that's really what this Tribal Nations Conference is about. Extraordinary young people representing the promise not just of their tribes or of Indian country, but of the United States.